From high on a sunny cliff, the Flower Friends looked down on the shimmering Pacific Ocean. Waves rolled in, one after another, leaving a line of white foamy water between the sand and the sea. Up above, seagulls dipped and soared on the wind. This was Half Moon Bay, a place as lovely as its name. "I could sit here forever," Lupe said. "But shouldn't we get going?" asked Clover. "It's a long way to Alaska, and we want to stop to see Yellow Lupe first." By now, Rosie the Rose had joined the Flower Friends. She always spent the summer in California. Like Zini, she loved the dry California air. "It's good for her petals." "Fine by me," Rosie said. "The sooner we get going, the sooner we can reach Clover's cousins and make the world a better place." And so the flowers headed north. They passed through parklands of giant redwood trees, where clusters of ladybugs dozed in the shade. The tree's thick reddish-brown bark was like no other tree the flowers had ever seen. By the time they reached the sand dunes of Humboldt Bay, Yellow Lupine was nowhere to be seen. "I'm so sorry," Lupe said to Clover. "I thought Yellow Lupine would still be here. I wanted you to meet her. I guess she's back home in Southern California, where she can really help the dunes." "On to Alaska, then," said Sunny. "I want to see a moose." "Let's hurry," said Clover. "I don't want to miss the white sweet clover, too." Traveling as far as they could by light of day, the flowers drove north, north, north. Soon they were in Oregon, along the Columbia River gorge. They stopped by a beautiful waterfall. This is salmon country," said Lupe. "Millions of wild salmon once swam the rivers here. People promised to protect them forever. They need to work harder to keep their promises." North, north, north the flowers went. When the road became rocky and rough, they talked of taking a ferry or even a plane. "You know, Lupe," said Clover, "I've heard that you can see lots of shapes and colors from the airplane. I've heard that from the sky the land looks like a patchwork quilt. That would be fun to see someday," said Lupe, "but let's stay on the ground for now. This pedal power car has served us well. Let's keep using it." Along the way, the flowers picked up Tula the tulip. She was visiting friends in the tulip fields of Washington State. Tula always tried to be courageous and strong. "Tula," said Clover, "when I talk to my cousin, I'm going to need some of your courage and your strength." And so the flowers traveled on, north, north, north. After what seemed like days and days, they reached Alaska. Right away, they saw white sweet clover. She and her family were scattered all over the land. They were even camped in the wildest parts of the wilderness. "I'm so glad I found you, white sweet clover," Clover said. "You don't look like me at all. You're so tall and scraggly. But deep down, you are my cousin. That's for sure. Underneath all your wild ways, you're really very sweet. That's why I don't like hearing about you causing trouble in Alaska. Come back south where clover grows in fields and pastures without troubling anyone or anything." White sleek Clover frowned. Clover could see that her cousin needed to hear more. "We Clover have so much to offer," she said. "Look at me. I have a nice green carpet to our garden, and I give nectar to the honeybee. If you move south, you too can use your resources wisely, and you'll be making the world a better place," Rosie said. "But I love Alaska," White Sweet Clover said. "I love the moose and all the snow in winter, and I love the long summer days filled with light. I want to stay." But Clover would not give up. "You're stopping good plants from growing," she said. "These plants are food for the moose you love." She asked White Sweet Clover to gather her family by the river to talk it over. And they talked they did. They talked and they talked and they talked. Then they all agreed. They would move south before the first snowfall. Clover now felt her trip to Alaska was a success. "We've learned so much about plants and seeds and where they do good and where they do harm," she said. "We know enough to help plants everywhere. Let's head home." "But we haven't seen a moose," Sunny said. A photo of us with a moose would make the best postcard of all. And so the flower friends piled back into Lupe's pedal power car and went where they loved to be, outdoors between earth and sky, in the sun and fresh air, on the lookout for something new to see.